You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me once again, it feels like it's like the last 5 episodes you've been here. Elsio Rosario is back with us once again. Elsio, how are you? How was your holidays? Happy New Year, all that fun stuff.
I'm doing well. Excited to be on again. Had a busy, hectic holiday season, as I'm sure you did. Didn't do much for New Year's Eve. Just kind of sat around, and it hit 12, and I said, "Oh, it's New Year." But how are you, man?
We're all right. We spent New Year's Eve in Boston. Did the first night in Boston. That was fun. Went to an Irish pub. Had a Guinness. Didn't finish it because I'm like, but yeah, then and I guess that happened after the Patriots lost 40-7 on Saturday against the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll go over that. We won't even talk about the Bills game because whatever goodwill that they had given us after that Bills game, it went out the window like immediately when we saw what happened. You've obviously watched the extended highlights of both games, so you have an idea of what we were expecting on Saturday and then what actually became. So we'll go over that. We'll dive into what the Patriots can be looking to do in 2025, now holding the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. And then we'll go over some NFL-wide topics, some college football. Obviously, both of us representing our teams, playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Virginia Tech Hokies. Then we'll talk about the other college football playoff games as well. Before we kick off, our thoughts are out with everybody that is affected by the what seems to be terrorist attacks in New Orleans with the truck running down Bourbon Street. Obviously, they postponed the Sugar Bowl. They'll be doing that tonight, Georgia versus Notre Dame. Just a devastating situation there on New Year's Eve. Thankfully, we have sports to kind of distract us from reality sometimes because those can be hard-hitting moments. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get right into it. The Patriots lose 40-7 on Saturday to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm now experiencing not having the box score up as soon as I kicked off like I always do. It's been a couple weeks, folks. Give me a second to lock in my zone here. Jerod Mayo, 12 of 22, 117, and a pick. Obviously, had the early game hit. I'm not sure if that was on the highlights, Elsio, but did you see where he like damn near concussed himself?
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, it was wild. Jacoby Brissett came in for a drive or two. But May came back, finished the game. Probably his worst game as a pro, to tell you the truth. Antonio Gibson, 12 carries for 63 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 2 carries for 1 yard. Obviously, a little bit of a situation there with Coach Mayo saying that Ramondre would be benched, and then Stevenson started the game. Little weird. We'll get into the weirdness of Mayo in a minute. Justin Herbert looked incredible. 26 of 38, 281, and 3 touchdowns. Shout out to Ladd McConkey, 8 catches, 94 yards, and 2 scores. J.K. Dobbins in his first game back from that injury, 19 carries, 76 yards, and a score, 4 yards per carry. Your leading receiver was Pop Douglas, 4 for 46, and that touchdown on the free play with the offsides and whatnot. Team stats, once again, penalties were a killer. You gave up 7 penalties for 60 yards. You lost a turnover battle. Your rushing game was non-existent, and you were 2 for 10 on third down. The Chargers were 10 of 17, and on fourth down, they went 2 for 2. So really, it was 12 of 17 on third down, if we want to count those fourth down conversions. Just a bad day. Patriots fall to 3-13. The Chargers go up to 10-6. I believe they're locked in the playoffs. So they'll be a fun team to watch. I didn't think the Chargers were amazing coming into this game, but like I thought this was a winnable game, and it just wasn't. We got outmatched on every level. So yeah, where do we go from here, Elsio? Tell me about what you saw that game. Some of your quick observations.
It's one of those games where if you're watching the film, you really have to dig deep to find the positives from the Patriots' perspective. If you watch the Bills game and then this game, you would think
As you
Justin
did,
Herbert was a lot better than Josh Allen. The big touchdown pass was great. My only complaint is that it was a bit too quick in the 2-minute warning. Gave time to set up that kick, which, by the way, I believe Cameron Dicker missed, but those aren't reviewable. Kind of Mickey Mouse. Didn't matter.
Yeah, no, that's the reason we lost there. Not the 40 points we allowed.
Shocked that Ramondre only had 2 carries after he started the game, after supposedly being benched.
Isn't that messy?
That's a little bit, yeah.
Would Mike Tomlin ever do something like that?
I'd like to think not, no. No picks from Drake May. I don't think he had any turnovers, did he? The lost fumble, someone else.
No turnovers, but it was probably his worst game as a pro.
Yeah, he didn't. He had the flash play with the touchdown.
The offsides, yeah.
Did some running. It's good that he uses his legs still.
But what I want to focus on with his scrambling, he's still running too recklessly. He got himself damn near concussed and taken out of the game. Like, he's got to be safer. Like, he's taking unnecessary hits over and over again.
Got a slide earlier, I think. Because from what looked like to me, it was a late slide. And I wouldn't say the hit was, an Elsio thing where it was 30.
It was just
incidental.
It was just a football thing.
Got outplayed in each phase of the game, as far as I can tell. Which, offense and defense being the 2 big ones. You can get outplayed on special teams and maybe have a chance, but on all 3, no. Just not a great day for the Patriots at all. Oh, and Ladd McConkey's good at football.
Yeah. May took a step back a little bit. He's still running around recklessly. He's, 4th and 2, he takes a 15-yard sack. Like, it's just, you can't be doing things like that. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I'm going to say it, and then you can tell me yes or no. All of the goodwill, all of the flowers we gave them last week for competing with the Bills in that 24-21 loss, it's taken right back after this.
Yeah, this game kind of makes that look like a fluke.
Because, like, it makes it seem like it's more about the other team when you play well than it is you. Like, the Patriots didn't do anything well on Sunday at all. And when they have these games like the one against the Bills, the one against the Bengals early in the year, like all of their wins, right?
Yeah.
And you look at their losses, they're getting killed. Like, absolutely killed in most games. I know they have like 8 one-possession games, and they've won 2 of them. But in their losses, it's horrible. It's bad. And when they play close, like, how am I to not think it's not you? It's the other team showed up late. It's not because you're playing so well. Like, how am I not supposed to feel that way,
I don't know if it's possible to not feel that way from no offense from what we've seen. I understand, I'm not a fellow Patriots fan, so I'm trying to speak respectfully, not bash.
No, don't worry. I berate these people enough. You can.
But, I mean, it's just you're losing by a lot more than you're winning if you do win for the most part, with the exception of the Bears game being a fairly impressive win. But again, that's the Chicago Bears.
Look what the Bears have been like this year. Like, is that really an impressive win,
For this, no, actually, what is the Bears' record as of
They're
now?
not good. Full standings. Let's look at the division. The Bears are 4-12. They're one game better than us.
Yeah, no, that's not an impressive
A
win.
point differential of -62.
Yeah, never mind. That's not an impressive win
Would you be
either.
interested in the Patriots' point differential? -135.
Yeah,
There are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 teams worse than them. The Panthers are -199, but they're playing a pain in the ass.
yeah, they are.
The Tennessee Titans -140. They're playing like a pain in the ass too. And the Cleveland Browns, who play more pain in the ass than we do. Like the Patriots just kind of stink.
And I mean, when you're winning by, a few points, I think 16 against the Bears was your biggest win, right?
Right.
And you're generally losing by 2+ touchdowns for the most part. You had a few close losses. The Colts come to mind. That Bills game was close. The Dolphins game.
The first
The
one, yeah.
first Dolphins game. The second one was a blowout. But when your margin of defeat on average is just so much bigger, that's going to happen. That differential.
And obviously a big topic with this week. And I don't Elsa, I think you know me well enough to say when it comes to the Patriots, I'm very conservative. I'm very pragmatic. I like to take things with a patient approach.
Yeah.
I've been saying with Jerod Mayo, take a patient approach. It's his first year. We got to be patient. I'm reaching a point where even I'm saying this can't go on. Every week, it's something different. Last week, you're benching Ramondre, and he's out there.
Yeah.
It's just every week he goes up on the press conference, he walks something back. It's bad game management. It's having a game like you did against the Bills and then coming home and getting stomped.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There are certain things that you as a coach, even if you're not ready, you have to make these incremental micro steps. You have to micromanage before we look at you in the big old picture. And I'm sorry, your players playing hard for you isn't enough for me. It's just not. I need to see you getting better in these spots. I need to see you more hands-on with the defense, which is the worst defense in the league by most metrics. I need you helping out DeMarcus Covington, who is obviously just not able to handle this job right now. And I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing Jerod Mayo typically do anything well. I'm not seeing him in game managing it very well. And I get when you're on the sideline, everything is on the players once they cross that white line, as he so eloquently put. I understand that. But between the weeks, game prep, crunching film, creating game plans, the Patriots aren't doing anything well. There's nothing that I can point at with this team and say, yes, you are making consistent improvements there. You are making the right steps here. It's not there. It's just not there. Like, I need Jerod Mayo to tell me what's working, because nothing seems to be working. Why should we keep you next year when we are a 3-13 team right now? Probably going to be 3-14 after next week against the Bills, who are not going to be playing Josh Allen. We'll get into that a little bit later. You gotta show me. You gotta tell me like what went wrong. You took it and you had a draft class of a quarterback, wide receiver, and a tackle. The quarterback looks good. The wide receiver he's not catching his targets. He's not getting open. When you watch him on film, he has no idea what the hell he's doing. And Caden Wallace, I haven't seen him. I get he was injured, but I haven't seen him since he got back, and I didn't see him before he got hurt. What's going on here? Like, I'm having a hard time putting together the case to keep Mayo. I really am, and I don't know. I just thought that we'd be getting better down the finish line, and it's just not that. We've been largely the same team from week 5 to week 17. Nothing's changed. We're still losing by a lot. We're getting outclassed by teams that we should be competitive with, like the Chargers. Like, the Chargers are a well-coached team. They're not very loaded roster-wise. Like, Justin Herbert is a great quarterback. Derwin James is a great safety. They don't have a ton of talent. We should be able to make that game close, and we're not. So I don't know how to convince myself that we should let Jerod Mayo stay and try to run it back and build it his way, because I'm not seeing it work. And on top of that, I think offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt is going to be their scapegoat. I think he's going to be the guy that gets fired, and that's going to be the big change. And he is the one guy on this coaching staff that I think is doing a great job. DeMarcus Covington, I'm sorry. Like, this defense is bad. And I defended you with all the injuries. But there's no reason that you are this bad. Like, schematically, it doesn't make sense. Nobody seems to be having an assignment. Like, you're blowing tackles, like fundamental football things. They are just not good at defensively. You can't tackle. Your eye discipline is horrible. You're letting guys blow by you in coverage outside of Christian Gonzalez, who got snubbed at the Pro Bowl. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And Alex Van Pelt's going to get canned, even though this offense has actually done better than I thought they would. They're not struggling to manage 17 points week in and week out. Last week, obviously, not being the case to point that out. But I don't know. What do you make of this? Is that a reactionary take on Mayo? Am I late to the party? Should I have been on this a lot sooner?
I'm gonna agree with you, and I can't say you're late to the party because I generally agree. I would generally say you don't want to fire a coach after 1 year. You want to give him a chance. It's a rebuilding team, but the more the season goes, the harder it becomes to really make the case, because how are you going to let him build it his way when, admittedly, I've just watched highlights. I don't see it his way. The Patriots.
What is the team's identity? What do they do well? What are they leaning on?
They don't seem to come out with any game plan at all, really. Utilize Drake May, I guess, which, especially with guys like Mike Vrabel out there, you could maybe
who apparently really, really, really wants this job.
I would definitely make that switch if possible. I was going to say you could chase Ben Johnson, but I think you'd like to go to a bit of a better team.
Yeah, a better team. Yeah. Listen, the Krafts are good owners. Like, this is an appealing job. I think the Krafts are good owners. But the roster is decrepit. The hiring process is, it's going to sound gross that I say this, but I'm sure you'll understand when I say it. It's very incestuous. They like having the people that they know, the people that they've worked with, and not a lot of outside forces. Which, if you need examples of that, just go back to when we hired Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf. We didn't consider any outside talent. We didn't consider any outside candidates. Outside of in our GM search, I believe that we had to, due to the Rooney Rule. I think we had to interview minority candidates for the GM job, which they were floozy interviews. Everybody knew it was going to be Elliott Wolf that got this job. They didn't completely move on from Belichick. They never did. They kept 90% of his staff. The offensive staff got an overhaul for the most part. Alex Van Pelt was kind of free reign, got to bring in the guys that he wanted. And that unit is better than the defense, which, beginning of the year, if you told me that our offense was going to be better than our defense, I'm either really excited because that means the team was really good, or I would just be perplexed that the defense sucks so bad. I thought this was going to be a very physical, a very good defensive-minded team. Jerod Mayo is a defensive-minded coach. His impact is not. It's not seen. It's not there.
No.
What was I getting at with this point? Yeah, no. if they were just going to do these half measuring bullcrap where they give Matt Groh, Elliott Wolf, Jerod Mayo, DeMarcus Covington all promotions and upgrades and real jobs, we might as well have kept Belichick.
Yeah, at that
we might
point,
as well have, because we're doing everything the same way.
I did notice that the Patriots did a lot of internal hiring, and it's something the Steelers do too. When we fired Randy Fichtner, however long ago, we might have interviewed one or two outside guys, but really we were just going to promote QB coach Matt Canada, and that was a disaster. So I understand that.
It's just like, what was the point? Like, all these half measures, you wanted to get away from Belichick being an authoritarian in his way or the highway. I get it. You're still getting the Belichick way. It's just worse. It's a watered down Belichick. Like, you took Powerade, drank the whole bottle, except for the little droplets at the bottom, and you just filled it with water.
Yeah, I mean, you're just, I don't know, you moved on from Bill Belichick to Belichick underling, who the only real successful one I can think of, which, well, was Vrabel with Belichick underling.
No, he kind of carved his own way. He never coached under Belichick. He coached under Bill O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien was under the Belichick net, but I don't consider Vrabel a Belichick tree.
I just want to make sure before I said the only successful one I can think of would be Bill O'Brien.
And I think Brian Flores has a chance too. But that Miami thing, you can't treat your rookie quarterback like that. Like, that's a red flag for any team. Like, when he goes and has head coaching interviews in the next couple of years, owners are going to ask, what the fuck happened with that Tua thing? And how will you prevent this from happening again? Like, can you imagine Brian Flores, like, dealing with Caleb Williams if he thought Tua was a diva?
You might have caught him.
Seriously. But, seriously, if they were just going to do this half-assed, half-measured thing and not just move on from Belichick, they should have just kept him. They should have just kept Belichick. Because at least with Belichick, I never had a problem with Belichick as the head coach. He got the most talent out of his players. The quarterback stunk, and with a better quarterback, that team probably isn't 4-13 that they were last year. No. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi accounted for a lot of those losses on their own. But and again, maybe this isn't an advocacy for Belichick. I don't want Belichick back. I think his time had come. I didn't trust his player evaluations. I didn't trust his personnel management, and it was time to go. But this is all just a worse version of last year, outside of the quarterback play. The quarterback play is drastically improved. There's no case or anything on that. So, I don't know. Maybe they should have just kept him. If this is what they were going to do.
They needed to commit one way or the other. Either you keep him or you fire and look outside. Revamp the staff.
Mayo was not ready for this job.
But they kind of did both, and yet neither. They fired him, and the staff wasn't revamped at all. They honored some random clause they put in the contract to be a successor, and it just turned out the worst possible way, really. You had to commit one way or the other, and you didn't.
I think Mayo as a dude, fantastic, phenomenal. I think he has the chops to be a head coach. He wasn't ready.
No.
He wasn't ready. He didn't have a network of coaches that he could build with. He would have really benefited from leaving. He would have really benefited from leaving, taking a defensive coordinator job, and building a network of people that he could bring in for whenever he would become a head coach. Shit, it could have been here. If he left when Kraft pulled him off the plane in 2022, I believe was that year, where Kraft sent out a notice that, like, he sent out a public statement that, we got Jerod Mayo, and he's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Back then, I should have known that like he was an ex-head coach. I just didn't know it. But no, I said it. I did a rant a couple of months ago with Ryan, and I said everything about this process was just bad. They needed a breath of fresh air from this Belichick operation. They needed to look at guys not from here that they hadn't worked with, get out of their comfort zone. And I think most of that is Robert Kraft, because at 80 something years old, how much change do you really want to go through? How much do you really want to deal with somebody that you don't know that well? Like, I understand all that, but that's not winning moves.
No.
Look what the Lions have done in the last couple of years. They totally just ripped off the Band-Aid from trying to be the mini Patriots. They've totally just revamped everything, went a total opposite direction, and it's working out for them right now. They're 14-2, playing for the number 1 seed in the NFC on Sunday against the Vikings. And look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember, the Buccaneers were a poverty franchise. They were one of the worst in football. They get Tom Brady, they win a Super Bowl. They get Baker Mayfield and move on from Bruce Arians. They got Todd Bowles now. They got Liam Cohen, I think, is their offensive coordinator right now. They had Dave Canales before that. They transitioned from Tom Brady better than we did. And the Patriots are an esteemed organization. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Succaneers, they transitioned from Tom Brady better than you did as a Patriots fan. How do you explain that? How is that acceptable?
It's not.
Am I crazy?
No. And I mean, when you think about it, how unconventional would you say those moves those teams made at the time, hiring Dan Campbell? Everyone thought he was just an idiot talking about.
I still think Dan Campbell's an idiot.
And Baker Mayfield,
he was damn near out of the league. He was damn near out of the league. Who was he competing with for that job in 2022? Or 3. I guess it would be 23.
He would have been competing with Kyle Trask for that job.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2023. I believe that was the first year of Baker Mayfield, right? Last year?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, because Tom Brady had a losing record his last year. Okay.
So you look at those unconventional moves. You know what hiring from within is? That's really conventional. Really safe. The reason these teams succeeded is because they took gambles and it paid off.
It's just so frustrating,
Yeah.
Once an esteemed franchise, and now it's looking like they did in the 90s. And I wasn't there in the 90s. I'm 22, going on 23-year-olds, folks. I was not there when Scott Zolak was our starting quarterback. I wasn't there pre-Bledsoe. I wasn't even there for Bledsoe.
Yeah.
But I've heard the war stories. They were not a good franchise, and it took them a while. I don't see the vision here. I don't know if the Patriots have a vision.
And that's not good because you have your franchise guy, I feel like Drake.
You have your franchise quarterback, and I'm not convinced that you're going to do anything to support him.
No, and that's not good.
But the silver lining is you have damn near $200 million in cap space. Not a lot of expiring contracts that you want to keep around. Because let's face it, this team has 2 good players. And then you have the number 1 overall pick as it stands today. You're going to have a real chance to fix this.
You got to spend, though.
You got to spend, and you got to be aggressive. And when you're aggressive, I don't know if Jerod Mayo and DeMarcus Covington, or even Alex Van Pelt, as much as I'm giving him his flowers for how well he's developed Drake May, how much this offense just kind of looks better than last year. The best offense has looked since Josh McDaniels. Even I'll include Van Pelt in there as well. When you're aggressive, I don't know if those three are going to match the urgency that you need to have. So,
Yeah.
those are my thoughts on Jerod Mayo and his coaching status. We'll see what happens. I think he's going to come back, and I think we're going to be pretty disappointed, but we'll see. We'll see. Things can change, especially if you lose to the Buffalo Bills starting backups at home and nobody shows up in your stadium. Bills preview. Josh Allen's probably going to play a quarter. Drake May is confirmed to play. It is only Thursday, so we don't have the full idea of who's playing and who's not. We can look at the Buffalo Bills injury report. Let's see here. The Christian Gonzalez didn't participate in practice. Jalen Polk didn't participate in practice. Kayshon Boutte did not participate in practice on Wednesday. The Bills look like they're full go outside of, they're not going to play the stars because they're locked in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, Elsio, we have this one question, really. If Ryan was here, I'd get a little bit more in depth about, who do you want to see kind of come out here and shine? You don't have the Patriots browser understanding like that. So when Ryan comes back next week, hopefully we'll do a deep dive for you folks and we'll run through, give our Patriots resolutions and whatnot. But Elsia, I'll go with you. How long do you think Drake May should play, if at all?
The whole game.
Why is that?
It's just experience. And, maybe you can try to play a bit of spoilers, especially if they're playing their backups. And Drake May gives you the best chance to do that. As much as I love Jacoby Brissett, I think he's a solid dude, solid, reliable backup option that can start stretches of games for you. I think you should just play him. If he takes a hit you don't like or something, maybe you can pull him just to be safe. But it's about risk and just building that experience and hopefully trying to play some spoiler to your divisional rivals.
Yeah, I think he should start. I think he should play. I wouldn't be offended if you took him out at halftime. I wouldn't be offended if he didn't finish the game. But you got to get in. You got to get him in there, prepping for the game, going through his mental work of just preparing for the game and doing all that. Like every bit of research, every bit of reps in practice, every bit of reps in the game. They all help. They all matter.
Yeah.
If you took him out at halftime because you're losing 30-10, I get it. I get it. I think they left him in too long yesterday, or not yesterday, on Saturday. When you're losing 40-7, like you got to take him out there. You got to take him out and rest him, especially after he took the hit to the head. Honestly, you could make the case that he probably shouldn't have came back that game if we were going to lose like that anyway.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's that. Drake May, I think he should play. We're in agreement, and he can either finish the game or you take him out because you're losing by so much. But if the game's close and it's winnable, you leave him in there. And I understand the Patriots have the number one pick. I still think the Patriots should be trying to win. I would not be like super upset and pissed if we lost the number one overall pick because the Patriots wanted to play hard. Like that is super understandable to me. The players are playing for their jobs. The coaches are coaching for their jobs.
Yeah.
And they want to put on a good performance. I understand. And listen, if we win, we're only going to drop to the fourth pick anyway. And this is not like a superstar draft where the Patriots are going to get this super mega haul to drop down to 8 and get 2 first-round picks. Like, no, this is not that draft. People are just okay on Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. In all likelihood, the Patriots are going to be stuck picking at number 1 anyway. And I like Travis Hunter. I don't love Travis Hunter. Like, I don't think he's this can't-miss prospect. I don't think there's any, like, can't-miss prospects in this draft, to tell you the truth. Like, you could say Ashton Jonte, but, like, ask me how I feel about running backs in the first round of the NFL draft.
I
Sony
would
Michel.
go and can't miss, to be honest. Not yet.
So I'm okay winning this game and drop down to 4. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
I feel like we've built too much of a culture over the years where fans, when their team isn't very good and they're in that number one pick position, they get mad at the team for trying to win.
Look at
And
Giants fans right now.
to an extent, I understand. If you're going to suck anyways, might as well suck the most. But I want to see these guys trying. Tanking is boring to watch. Probably not very fun to do.
Happens in the NBA all the time.
Yeah, my
I don't
team
think
did.
tanking in the NFL is a problem because I think coaches and players alike together they all want to win every game. They're not thinking about the NFL draft. These coaches and players, they're playing for their jobs. They're playing for film. They're playing for this because they don't know if this is going to be their last game. Like from a player's perspective, I fully get it and I support them wanting to go out and win. You play to win the game, as I said 100 times from September to December. So no, I think that's that. I don't think you're going to get a super great haul if you trade down. So who cares?
You might get a little something, but nothing insane. Like
Honestly,
you would.
I'm terrified that we won't get anything and the teams will just force us to pick at one.
Yeah, and at that point, like
because the quarterbacks aren't awesome. You know what I mean?
if
Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward would be ranked behind J.J. McCarthy. And J.J. McCarthy might be available. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
And if I'm being the most honest, if I'm a Patriots fan, I'd rather take Ted McMillan than Travis Hunter because I figure Hunter better as a corner. But at 1, it's kind of hard to do that.
At 1, you have to take Travis Hunter. He's the best player in the draft.
You have to at that.
And if you pick at 4, he's already going to be gone.
Yeah.
So it takes kind of a hard decision out of your hands a little. You could even take a tackle at 4 if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you could.
Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell,
You could use the tackle help for sure.
We could use anything, man. So that's like why I'm not opposed to taking Travis Hunter because like we need everything. We can't be picky because we don't need a quarterback, but that's it. You can make a case for drafting Abdul Carter from Penn State, who I love. I love Abdul Carter. He is a freak. I love Mason Graham from Michigan, the D tackle. Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Ted McMillan. Not my favorite receiver. I like Luther Burden a little better, but he's fun. He's good. He's great. And then obviously the tackles and everything. So the Patriots need it all. And I wouldn't be opposed to them taking anybody except for the running back. No running backs in the first round. We've done it. It didn't work. It never worked for anybody. It never works. When was the last first round running back pick that it worked for the team?
Man,
Think about it.
We took Najee Harris. That hasn't really worked.
It hasn't blown up, but it hasn't worked. No.
Saquon's about to win a Super Bowl with another team, maybe.
The Giants probably regret that pick, don't they?
Yeah. Was Derrick Henry a first-round pick? And even then, did that really work out for Tennessee anyways?
Here we go. I got a list. Last one was 2022. No, never mind. The first running back taking 2022 is Breece Hall. There was 2 first-rounders in 2021 with Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. 2020, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Well, how good has that worked out?
He sucks.
Josh Jacobs for the Raiders. They didn't even re-sign him. No. Saquon Barkley and Sony Michel. I mean, Saquon left the Giants after being hurt all the fucking time. And Sony Michel didn't see a second contract.
No.
Leonard Fournette.
They got a Super Bowl with Leonard Fournette, didn't they? Or am I
Didn't he start with the Jaguars?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That didn't
Christian
work.
McCaffrey with the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey was great. Couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Zeke for the Cowboys. I mean, how well did that work out? They kept him forever, but did they win anything?
There's some hype there, but that's about it.
Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon.
Oof.
Bishop Sankey was the first running back in 2014, not a first rounder.
Mm.
See, I mean, there's running backs in the first round. You can't convince me it works. I'm sorry. It doesn't.
No.
Never has, never will.
That's not a promising list at all.
Ashton Jante is going to be the next Zeke, unfortunately.
I sure hope not, because he's really fun to watch.
Oh, he'll be fun to watch. Zeke was fun to watch. But they're not going to win with him. Okay. I don't even know where I was going. Oh, we were talking about the number 1 overall pick. Okay. So we hit on both the Patriots topics I wanted to get to. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else about the Patriots I want to get over. When Ryan comes next week, we'll be able to sink our teeth into it a little more. But with Elsio, we're gonna keep the show moving. We're gonna go to our NFL stories. I usually pick out 10 topics that we go over, and we run through, and it's a good time. So, number 1, the Minnesota Vikings apparently want to keep Sam Darnold. The NFL teams are going to be looking into acquiring their first-round rookie quarterback from last year, JJ McCarthy. Elsio, if you were the Vikings, what would you do? And then if you're like the Raiders or something, what would you give up for JJ McCarthy?
If I'm the Vikings, I'm working the phones and I'm trying to negotiate with Sam Darnold as quickly as possible. That I'm fairly high on JJ McCarthy. I like him. I like his traits, but you have basically, I think the example I used in the chat was that JJ's an unscratched lotto ticket and Darnold's your guaranteed 25 million. Like, could lotto ticket be worth more? Sure, but it could also be worth nothing compared to that. You got your known commodity. I keep him, and I'm hearing out teams because I think JJ McCarthy could catch a nice price if I'm a team like the Raiders.
Because we established that this quarterback class isn't good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about this carefully, though, because they could use that high first rounder for a piece to put around their new guy. I don't know if I do my first this year. That's a tough call. Do a second, first next year if you have to. Throw in another day 2, day 3 type pick and some more future picks for sure.
I don't know why some Vikings fans are just so anti-keeping Sam Darnold. And the ones that I know who are the most against Sam Darnold are Michigan fans. So, I'm just, taking their stuff and I'm tossing it because there's an agenda there. Listen, Sam Darnold's playing out of his mind. He absolutely is. The locker room loves him. We're seeing kind of the Matt Stafford effect in his first year in Los Angeles. Not that Stafford ever had the shortcomings that Darnold did. Darnold had to work his ass off to get into this spot after Matt Rule and Adam Gase. But listen, I think Sam Darnold is playing really well. He's living up to the talent that I saw at USC. And he's doing it with an offensive line that's been shaky at best. And he's making the most of it, and he's playing like the first round pick that he was in 2018. So if he is willing to take a contract for less than $40 million a year over the course of 3 years, 4 years, do it. It's hard to find quarterback play in this league, and it's easy to find a first round quarterback bust. Not saying that JJ McCarthy is going to bust, but it's more likely that JJ McCarthy busts than it will that Sam Darnold all of a sudden regresses back to what he was in the Jets in Carolina.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
And Sam Darnold is top 4 in yards. I think he's 4th passing yards and 5th in passing touchdowns.
Pro Bowler.
If he had, if not for a few really poor performances, like that made me start to worry, like we're getting old Sam Darnold again, I'd have him in MVP conversations. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think there can be more than 2 all NFL, all pro caliber quarterbacks at a time. I think he's one. He's just been great, and no one expected it. He was surely signed to either be a bridge or backup. He wasn't signed to do all this, but it's hard to argue against keeping him. Like, people are, but I can't think of a good faith argument myself that I'd use.
And I wouldn't even be super offended if they kept JJ McCarthy and just told Darnold, yeah, listen, your price tag's a little heavy. We'll move on. But how do you not have a serious conversation? How is this for some people not even a conversation?
I don't know. I would at least try, negotiate a bit, have a budget if you want, like you said, 40 mil a year. If they want that to be their budget, and he's asking 50 or 55,
Then like, yeah,
per
no,
year, then
not
they
doing
could
that.
let him go. But you can't just be like, yeah, we drafted JJ McCarthy. We're committed to that. So we're not going to negotiate with you. You can go play somewhere else.
And it looks like the Vikings are going to at least try.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do.
And I don't know how you can look at that locker room video from last week and just not think they have their guy.
I think they do.
All right. Pro Bowl rosters were revealed today. We're going to go through the AFC first.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks: Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Any snubs?
No.
I think they got the right 3.
I don't see any snubs here. Some people might say Mahomes, but that's not true. No snub.
Hasn't been a good year for him.
No.
Statistically, anyway. I think he's still playing at a good level. I don't think he sucks by any means, but just not a MVP caliber Pro Bowl, All-Pro kind of year. It's just kind of a weird year for him. And the offensive talent did like shrink a little. So,
yeah.
Running backs: Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor. Are you surprised to see Joe Mixon up here?
I am, yeah. But he deserves it. I'm surprised, but he earned it.
Yeah, who would have thought that he'd kind of have the comeback that he did?
Yeah.
Let's see. Next closest running back in the AFC, there isn't many. Tony Pollard would be the next guy as far as rushing yards go, and it's like not even close. No, not doing it. So, how about that?
Picks.
Wide receivers: Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, Nico Collins, and Zay Flowers.
Wow. 2 of
Jerry
these aren't
Jeudy,
like
huh?
the others.
I think I might go Brian Thomas Jr. over Jerry Jeudy, but
Yeah, him not making the Pro Bowl's crazy. No T. Higgins. I thought Higgins was pretty good this year. But if you told me before the season started that, say, Flowers and Jerry Jeudy would be Pro Bowlers, I wouldn't have believed you.
you're right. I mean, this is the first Pro Bowl receiver for the Ravens in their history.
Ever?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Know that.
Nico Collins, obviously, special season.
Yeah.
Still ended up in like the top 15 in yards despite the injury, which is insane.
Yeah, I missed like 4 or so weeks that he could have been putting up even more. Yeah.
Wait, did I just lie? Hold on. Let me find Nico Collins here. Yeah, actually, he was 22. He was 22nd in yards, and he missed like 5-6 games.
And we got Jamar Chase, and I don't think we need too much talk on him.
No,
It's
he's
Jamar
special.
Chase. Yeah.
2 tight ends, Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce.
I think there's a snub here.
Who?
Travis Kelce got in on name value. It should have been Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu Smith had 5 more yards and 4 more touchdowns.
I don't know, man. I think Jonnu, there's a case.
Kelce had 7 more. I think there's a case for sure.
But the gap between Bowers and second is a lot bigger than the gap between second and third.
No, for sure. I think there's a case. I think you could for sure make a case, Elsio, but I don't think Kelce's a bad pick.
No.
Offensive lineman, we can run through it. Deion Dawkins, Laramie Tunsil, Rashawn Slater, Quentin Nelson, Joe Tooney. God, what would like for the Patriots to have a guy like that? Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Tyler Linderbaum. And those are your offensive linemen. Your defensive ends, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, and Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Interior lineman, Pittsburgh Steeler, Cameron Hayward, Chris Jones, Nnadi Matabuke. Cam Hayward still a special player?
Cam Hayward still a special player. Quietly special. Been that way for a little while.
Outside linebackers, Nick Bitonio, TJ Watt, and Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, huh?
Khalil Mack.
Way to go. He's still kicking around.
Yeah.
Sorry, Twitter exploded. I want to make sure that I wasn't missing anything. Jalen Milroe is declaring for the draft.
Yeah, he has to. He needs to give NFL teams as little film of him to work with as possible.
And Bailey Zappi is starting for the Browns on Saturday.
Ooh, that'll be a blast from the past. You might want to watch that.
God, no. Inside linebackers, Roquan Smith and Zaire Franklin.
Yeah, that seems good and fair.
Corners. All right, LCO. I think we're going to be chomping at the bit here. Derek Stinley Jr., Patrick Surtain II, Marlon Humphrey, and Denzel Ward. Big name missing, LCO. Can you name it?
Did you say Denzel Ward?
I did say Denzel Ward.
Where's Christian Gonzalez?
Good question. Christian Gonzalez is nowhere to be found.
I don't know about that one.
Christian Gonzalez was a special corner. He really was all year.
He was the top 4 corner, maybe in the NFL, let alone the AFC.
Seriously, I think Patriots fans overrated him a little. Because I think Stingley and Surtain are certainly better.
And there's a case for Humphrey being better. I'll be fair and say.
Denzel Ward.
No.
Come on, dude.
Denzel Ward is the name that stands out to me as the one that Gonzo should have been in over. And
Brian Hoyer, former Patriot quarterback. We all love Brian Hoyer, right?
Yes.
He writes, Gonzo falls victim to being on a team with a bad record and no primetime games. It's a shame for a guy who's a top corner in the league. Brian Hoyer, you said it better than I ever could.
It's a shame.
Free safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
That seems right. I don't think there's a better free safety in the AFC.
Kyle Hamilton and Derwin James on the other side of strong.
That also seems right. Best 2
and then special teams, your long snapper, Ross Mattis, punter, Logan Cook, place kicker, Chris Boswell.
Let me see
remember we used to rip on him?
Yeah. I don't remember, but Chris Boswell was on pace to break the record for most field goals in the season. I'm going to see if he got that.
punt return specialist Marvin Mims Jr., and your lone Patriot, folks. What do we want to call him? They're calling him just a special teamer. Brendan Schooler for the Patriots is a Pro Bowler. Taking him to school on special teams. And that's your AFC Pro Bowl roster. The NFC, your quarterbacks are Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, and Sam Darnold. I have no complaints there.
No, you could make a case for Baker Mayfield, but with these three, I think it's fair. It's fair. It's just unfortunate.
I think if you're going to swap anybody, it's Goff for Mayfield, but
it's just unfortunate for Mayfield. He had a really good year too, but I can't really kick any of these three off personally.
Running back Saquon Barkley, who was 101 yards short of Eric Dickerson's record, will not be playing on Sunday. Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions and Josh Jacobs for the Packers. Pretty good.
Yeah, seems fair.
Fullback Kyle Juszczyk, still kicking around.
Yeah.
Wide receivers Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, C.D. Lamb, and Terry McLaurin.
Seems fair enough.
I would have considered Malik Neighbors.
I was going to say I was a bit surprised to not see Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. making their Pro Bowl teams.
Or Jackson Smith and Jigba.
JSN had a case.
Puka Nacua.
Oh, Puka didn't make it. Man.
Yeah.
The NFC stacked with receivers, aren't they?
Yeah, and the AFC has all the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Tight ends, George Kittle and Trey McBride. George Kittle had an awesome year.
Yeah, and so did Trey McBride. I think those are two good picks.
It's just unfortunate Trey McBride can get a touchdown until damn near January. Offensive linemen, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, Tristan Wirfs, Landon Dickerson, Tyler Smith, Chris Lindstrom, Frank Ragnow, and Cam Jurgens. Very good.
Yeah, good line.
Defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary. Good Lord.
Scary.
Interior D-line, Jalen Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Vita Vea. Good Lord.
Somehow even scarier.
Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, 2 Vikings, and Jared Verse.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Flores because the Vikings defense last year didn't deserve to have one, let alone 3 Pro Bowlers. And look at this year.
Inside linebackers, Fred Warner and Zach Bond. Corners, Jalen Johnson, Byron Murphy, J.C. Horn, and Devon Witherspoon. Free safety, Xavier McKinney. Strong safeties, Buda Baker and Brian Branch. Your long snapper is Andrew DePola. Your punter is Jack Fox. Your kicker is Brandon Aubrey, who had an insane year. Devontae Turpin is your punt return specialist. And Kaderil Hodge is your NFC special teamer. Those are your Pro Bowl rosters. We mentioned Saquon Barkley being short of 100 yards, being short 100 yards of Eric Dickerson's rushing record, 101 to be specific. Elsio, would you have played Saquon Barkley?
I won't lie, because I thought it was like 10 yards he was short. I was arguing hard, like, just give him the 1 carry, but 101 yards, you'd have to play him at least a half if he was really efficient. Probably more like 3/4, maybe the whole game. No, because if Saquon Barkley breaks his ankle or something terrible like that, your season's done. You're cooked. It's over. Wrap it up. No Super Bowl, no nothing.
Is Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers done in football?
I surely hope so, and I think he should hope so.
It's hard to imagine him coming back after a year like this.
Because, we came into New York, a lot of hype. Tore his Achilles, which, that's not his fault, no one's fault, just unfortunate. Comes back and blows, and that is a little his fault, a little not, because that injury really did the number on his, 42-year-old body. Played the blame game, a lot of drama. I just don't see it.
His quotes, he says that he called his time with the Jets the best 2 years of his life, which is just a straight up lie.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm just more resigned to the reality of the situation. I think there's going to be change here, and if I'm part of that change, then I just want to make sure everybody knows that I have nothing but gratitude for my time here." He said it would be fantastic to come back and make another run at this with the Jets, but he added that he is not naive to the situation the Jets are in. Rodgers says he plans to take time after the season ends to refresh, recharge, and contemplate his future. If I want to play and they don't want me here, then I'll see if there's other options. So I don't think there's going to be any other options. I'm surprised Kirk has options.
I hope when he takes his ayahuasca that the ayahuasca says retire.
Can you believe Kirk Cousins is getting interest?
No.
Apparently Cleveland wants him. I'm sure you're hoping for that.
Blew for that stretch. He blew so bad for that stretch that they were forced to bench the guy they just paid $36 million to.
And to be frank, I mean, Penix looks pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually our next topic. Our early thoughts on Michael Penix Jr. I think he's impressive, but he just needs to work on his NFL timing, his NFL, his in-game stuff. He needs to work on.
Yeah, there's some lack of polish there that shows, but overall, he looks a hell of a lot better than I thought he would. Looks good.
Looks better than Kirk, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's not the highest bar, but he sure does.
I was rooting hard for Kirk, man. I was.
I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I think he's a really good guy.
Used to be a really good player.
Used to be. He was pretty good to start the season, even not amazing, but he had some games. Guys seem to like him, but he just can't play. Time caught up to him in the middle of the season for some reason.
Like he's got like cement in his cleat. Like
he also came off of an Achilles tear
it's not like pocket presence was like his greatest attribute. It was actually his worst. And now he can't move.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm very surprised to hear that he's getting interest. But Penix overall pretty good. Got a future with this guy. Just got to develop him. Not be afraid to utilize that run game with Bijan to take the pressure off.
Yeah, I wonder why you're advocating for Bijan usage.
Oh, there's no vested interest in that. We'll ignore fantasy football.
Jimmy Garoppolo is getting a start for the Los Angeles Rams this weekend. Elsio, do you think, one, that Jimmy Garoppolo will play well after taking basically an entire year off from football after his back injury last year with the Raiders, then getting benched for Aiden O'Connell, then he goes to the Rams, doesn't play at all in the preseason, then he deals with a 2-game suspension. Obviously, since then, he's been fine, back, good to go. Playing backup for the Rams. I don't think he's played at all this year, to tell you the truth. Let me see here. Jimmy G. Yep, no throw attempts this year. So he hasn't played in game in a good, decent bit. He's playing the Seattle Seahawks at home, I believe. Yes, they are in SoFi Stadium. Elsa, what is your expectations? And can Jimmy G parlay this into a job next year? Maybe not a starting one, but can he parlay this into being in the NFL again next year?
Oh, the panty dropper. That's what I call him. The women ought to be excited for this game.
I'm excited for this game, and I'm not a woman.
I think Jimmy, I expect him to do solid. I don't think he'll light the world up. You might utilize the run game a little more. Are they sending them out there with weapons, or are Cooper Kupp, Puka, Kyrie, and all them resting too?
Stand by. Ram starters week 18. Sean McVay lays out the plan for Ram starters. Okay. Heading into week 18, the Rams are the number 3 seed and could only drop to 4. Yeah. Resting key starters is the way they're going to go. Blake Corum's going to play a lot.
That's exciting.
His quote on Garoppolo is, I think Jimmy is a really good football player, and I'm looking forward to see him just go play the way he's capable of. It's a great challenge against an excellent defense that's really hitting their stride at the right time.
So I'm going to assume, based off that, he's not going to have Cooper Cup or Puka Nakua.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption. But maybe Seattle's not playing too hard either. So maybe this will be a glorified preseason game.
I think he can have, moments. I think he's a fair passer. If I'm remembering right, he can move a little. He's not Lamar Jackson or anything.
He's not stuck either now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's somewhere in the middle.
He's Diet Romo. Think of it like that. He's Diet Tony Romo.
I think he can do a little, but I think he can do enough to secure a backup job, if nothing else, to be a mentor. Because, a young quarterback learning from Jimmy G can't hurt. He should have insights. There's stuff Jimmy G does well. I've always liked his timing for the most part. He can throw some dangerous balls at times, but he's never been a terrible or bad quarterback to me anyways.
No, he's never been like a member of the bottom 4 of starting quarterbacks.
No.
You wouldn't find him in the top 12 really, but he'll range from 16 to 23. I mean, the guy you want to improve from, but it's not a guy that you're like itching to get rid of either. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm always pumped to see Jimmy G on TV. So I'm rooting for him. I hope that he can land a job. I would love it if Jacoby Brissett didn't want to come back. We're like, hey Jimmy, you want to come on back over here? Want to hang out with Drake May and go back to your roots?
With as much of that QB room as you can.
Yeah, seriously. Got to keep me out of the locker room at that point with Drake May and Jimmy G. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. I hope he plays well, and I think he will. I think he'll benefit well from great coaching staff, as he did with the Niners, and he'll be efficient. And that's all you can really hope for.
Yeah, okay. That Rams system is awesome, man.
Let's just stay in the NFC West real quick. Is Brock Purdy worth the money he's going to command?
No.
Would you pay him?
No, especially if Sam Darnold's out there. I mean, if Sam Darnold, re-signs to the Vikings quickly, I can't really think of all the options in free agency, but if I'm forced
JJ McCarthy.
Could chase JJ. He's on a rookie deal, which, that's always a big plus in value, a rookie deal, because you can pay your other guys, build better. I would prefer not to pay Brock Purdy if I can help it, because look at the 49ers this year. Last year, people were saying, yeah, Brock Purdy is all pro caliber. Debo gets hurt. CMC gets hurt. Ayuk tears his knee up. Like, he's done. Kittle has some issues. Trent Williams gets hurt. Team blows. He's a professional backpack.
A professional backpack.
He's not the guy.
Listen, you can do a lot worse than Brock Purdy in this league. I think he's a top half of the league quarterback. But the Dolphins are never going to win with Tua Tagovailoa.
No. And Brock Purdy's in that same tier.
The Dallas Cowboys are never going to win with Dak Prescott.
No.
You don't got to pay the quarterback, guys. You don't have to pay the quarterback. Look what the Vikings did with Sam Darnold. Kyle Shanahan is a great coach.
Yeah.
He'll get the most out of whatever quarterback he chooses, as long as they don't completely stink. Nobody's calling Jimmy Garoppolo a game breaker besides me, of course. And they went to one Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game. Trey Lance couldn't play. It's not that Kyle Shanahan couldn't develop quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So let Kyle Shanahan figure it out. You don't have to pay this guy. You don't have to pay this guy, and he's. I don't know if you can win, if he's going to get you to the game on his own. I'm not convinced. I haven't seen it, and I get that this year was awful. Like, so many injuries all at once on a good team, Like, what would happen if you gave him just Ayuk? Like, if Ayuk stayed healthy, what would happen if CMC wasn't just a shell of himself and then tearing his PCL, which will probably be the end of his good career. He'll probably be middling the rest of the way. I don't know. I would play it out. I would play it out. I wouldn't commit anything right now.
What amount would not offend you if they paid Brock Purdy?
35.
You're more generous than me. I wouldn't go above 25.
Elsio, 25 is like it's like a 1-year deal
for a quarterback. Yeah, 30 maybe to be more fair.
I think 30 to 35 per year is probably where you should fall. I'm sorry, I can't justify giving him 40 or more.
No, I'm with you. I'm a bit of a hater, but
I'm not in a rush to get rid of him either. Play it out.
Yeah.
Play it out next year. If he proves us all wrong and you pay him, good on you. But don't fall for the Daniel Jones thing that the Giants did.
No.
And understand that you don't have to do this. You don't have to.
The Cowboys paid Dak that big contract, and look, they're screwed. Absolutely. I don't know what they can do to get better.
The Dolphins are tied at the hip to a guy who's never going to win the division for them.
No, and I don't know what they can do to get better.
A lot of awkward quarterback situations in the league.
I mean, the Steelers right now, we're probably
that's a good awkward though because you have freedom.
We're probably finishing second in the division, I would imagine. Chance to win it. We got our guys during the offseason, both on 1-year deals, flexible. Hopefully resign one or both. Not the huge deals, but the fair ones. Yeah.
Has Russell Wilson earned another year with you guys, you think?
I think so, yeah. But I would not give him a long leash next year. There's been moments this year it makes me think he's a little close to the cliff. Gotta keep an eye on
the
that.
last month. Like I've just been like, oh god, the Steelers they're turning it right around to where they always are, right? Like first round exit.
You gotta just keep an eye on it, but I think you could give him another nice 1-year deal if he'll take it.
2 years, $15 million per.
Yeah,
team option, or not team option. What's the word I'm looking for? An opt out. After the first, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think you could do that.
Is he still getting paid by the Broncos?
I think that ends after this year. I
Okay.
could be wrong.
Well, you give him a 2 year with a option after one. I think that's good.
I don't know if we could get both though, because I'd imagine we'd have to pay Justin Fields.
No, let Fields walk. He wasn't that good.
I like Fields though. I really do.
Okay, but would have he played as well as Russell Wilson did this year? If you let him play the whole season, he couldn't throw the ball, LCO. He's not an accurate passer of the football.
No, but he can run.
Okay, play him at running back.
I don't know. I think we probably would have been worse with Fields in for the Russell Wilson games.
But at least you have the flexibility.
Yeah.
Speaking of flexibility, Anthony Richardson was complaining that he was not flexible at all the last week with his severe back pain. Says it might be chronic. Says he was crawling around his house because he couldn't walk. It was so bad, as your dogs obviously don't like that I insulted Anthony Richardson. They're big Anthony Richardson fans up there.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm becoming less and less of one though.
All right. Is Anthony Richardson built for the NFL?
Man, On paper, he's 6'4". He's massive. You'd think so. But looking at his bill of health, I cannot in good conscience say that he's built for the NFL.
Back spasms forced him to crawl around his house. At least was what he said.
Yeah. That's
And
just
this season hasn't been good for him.
no.
47.7 completion percentage, 1,814 yards, 8 touchdowns, 12 picks as a passer. Rushing the ball. He has had 86 carries, 499 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Taking mean hits. I'm sure that helps the back pain.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that viral moment. Tapping out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Not my franchise quarterback. Get him out. I don't want to see him again.
And what's hilarious, like Kenny Pickett this past week, former Steeler, much respect to Kenny, 2 gloves, but he played through broken ribs a whole game. And the first thing I saw people talking about was, yeah, and Anthony Richardson tapped out because he was tired.
And now he's dealing with the severe back pain thing.
That type of stuff sticks with you, man. It gives a bad impression, looks bad.
And obviously, if this is a chronic back pain issue, you're going to be dealing with that your whole career.
Yeah.
And you take hits. Like, that is your style of play. You are reckless.
Yeah. He trucks people. He doesn't slide.
He trucks people. He doesn't slide. He is not a very accurate thrower of the football anyway.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm out on Anthony Richardson. I'm out. I've been out, but sorry. I can't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
I tried, but I'm getting there. I am, sadly.
No, you need to go take some HGH and do something with your back because you're not going to last long in the league with that. You're not going to last long in the league because you suck. But
yeah, he's not been the best. No.
You want to talk about these college football playoffs?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to save the best one for last. Let's talk. Not technically because we're talking about this game first. Arizona State versus Texas. Arizona State put up a fight.
Yeah.
Nobody had them in that game, even competing, and they took Texas to double overtime. Good on them.
Yeah.
Cam Scatabo, that was his last college football game. He certainly put belt to ass the entire game, looking for contact, pushing through. Sam Levitt, the quarterback for ASU, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's got NFL written all over him. He's just got to develop redshirt freshman. What could have been if they had their star receiver? I forget what his name is. And then Texas, obviously, they got talent all over the place. It's hard to compete, but Arizona State did.
Yeah. Much credit to them. I didn't expect that to be the only good game of this playoff so far, but it has. And Cam Scatabo really tried to single-handedly win a playoff game. Bro had a passing touchdown,
184 yards rushing, I think.
Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns and had 99 yards receiving.
It's unfortunate that he's probably not a real NFL player, but
no, it's sad. You could still talk me into developing him at fullback in a good system for him, but
all right, let's go to the other shitbag games because college football sucks. Penn State versus Boise. Oh wow, who would have thought?
Yeah,
the Mountain West is not that impressive.
No.
How did Ashton Jonte do?
He not as good as you would have hoped. 104 yards on 30 carries, no touchdowns, and I think he had a couple fumbles.
Ugh, that's bad.
Boise's O-line, though, was really overwhelmed the whole game. It just wasn't good for them. They tried at the end to close it, but no.
31-14, your final
You
from
could
the
definitely
Fiesta Bowl.
tell it was a Group 5 team trying to compete with a Power 4.
Yeah, Penn State. I mean, Drew Aller, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Katron Allen, very good running back, averaging 7.9 per carry. Nicholas Singleton, 87 yards and a touchdown. Like Tyler Warren, a beast. I love him. I'm sorry, he's that guy. Ashton Johnson had 2 fumbles but lost 1.
Only lost one of those, but the 2 fumbles is still not the best.
They need to fix this college football playoff somehow. I don't know how, but you can't have Boise getting a bye week and then getting shacked like that.
No.
But Arizona State on the other side, you could argue probably didn't deserve that bye week and then still put up a hell of a fight. So
Yeah, college football's an unpredictable thing sometimes.
Oregon versus Ohio State. Oregon got boat raced.
Oregon was supposed to be the best team in the nation.
Were they last night? I don't think so.
I think Ohio State might be at this point.
No, for sure. I don't know how you look at that game and come up with anything, but Ohio State's really good.
Jeremiah Smith is going to make some NFL team really happy when he's shut
I'm
down.
hearing that he's better than Marvin Harrison Jr. ever was.
I think so.
Pages chose the wrong year to tank, huh? Good thing we'll suck next year, and we'll have a chance at him then.
You can hope.
Yep. Will Howard was 17 of 26, 3 touchdowns. Dylan Gabriel, not a horrible performance, 2 touchdowns, but you don't like to see 29 of 41.
No.
Their run game was non-existent, like the entire game. Yeah, Ohio State might be the best team in the nation.
Ohio State had a really explosive Oregon team looking slow and sluggish most of the game.
Now, here's the big question. Will Ohio State fans care if they win the national championship because they lost to Michigan 4 years in a row?
Oh, man. When they first lost to Michigan and I didn't think they'd win the national championship, I would have said no immediately. But
do you think
now
they'll care?
that it's looking like they will.
Do you think Ohio State fans will care?
I think they'll care to an extent. It's a national championship. But
you still have that gross taste in your mouth, right? Like there's still a graduating class of Ohio State football players that never beat Michigan.
Even as an outsider, I still want Ryan Day fired.
Seriously? Like that's how much that rivalry means to them.
Yeah. Like Ryan Day should still be in danger of losing his job, even if they win the Natty. 100%.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
And then you have Georgia versus Notre Dame tonight. Notre Dame is a 1-point favorite. Obviously, they're going to be starting Gunnar Stockton at quarterback for Georgia because Carson Beck sucks and tore his UCL. What is it? A hot take that Carson Beck sucks?
No, but I don't think Georgia's going to win with a backup quarterback.
I think they will. I really do. I think Notre Dame is one of those schools that is just like, you don't play anybody all year.
They generally are paper tigers. This is a true take that I agree with.
Like I can't see it with them. I see it with Georgia. They're an SEC team. They are built. They are powerful. I have them winning despite it. And I think that this quarterback could provide some firepower that Carson Beck hasn't all year.
Yeah. Now
like Carson Beck went from like a unanimous like top 10 pick to like this guy might not get drafted.
He shouldn't get drafted.
The injury doesn't help. Before the injury, he might have been a round 3 pick. Now, I'm sorry. I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, yeah. Losing Carson back might end up being a net positive.
A blessing in disguise, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have Georgia winning that one. It might be a good game, but I have Georgia winning it.
I picked Notre Dame, but as the more I've sat with it, I've really regretted that pick. I think it was stupid of me to say.
Winner of that one goes to the Orange Bowl to play Penn State on the 9th. And then Texas Ohio State is matched up for the Cotton Bowl.
I think Penn State beats either of these teams, whoever wins this, to be honest.
I don't know, man. That Penn State coach, what's his name? John Franklin?
Yeah.
John Franklin doesn't coach well in big games. Boise State, I'm sorry, that wasn't a big game.
James Franklin, my bad.
James Franklin. Jim Franklin. Big Jim. Big game Jim. Yeah, he faults under those big lights. That was not a big lights game last week. You can't convince me. So I think that there's a good chance that he loses the Orange Bowl.
Could.
And then Texas Ohio State. That'll be fun. But I got Ohio State. I think they're more talented.
Ohio State fan.
I think Ohio State's more talented.
Yeah, I don't think it's a close game at the end.
When they boat raced Oregon like that, you're guys be like, uh-oh.
After they boat raced Oregon, I don't think any of the remaining teams can make it a close game unless Ohio State's off.
All right. The game everybody's been waiting for. The Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte.
Yes,
the
sir.
Minnesota Golden Gophers versus the Virginia Tech Hokies. Obviously, a big rivalry on this podcast here. I mean, who would have thought that two of our teams would be playing in the most prestigious game in all of sports? Minnesota, they were a pain in the ass all year long against really good teams. They never got boat raced. And they obviously get to the bowl eligibility under Max Brosmer, who's going to play. I think we're both fielding like full lineups for this game. So
we have a few opt-outs at Tech. Facial Tootin's opting out. There's a linebacker and someone else.
But you don't want them on this team anyway because you want to play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Like, this is for all of the Mayo. Like, this is the giant bowl of Mayo that's going to get splashed on somebody. Like, this is anything anybody's ever wanted. Screw a national championship.
This is the national championship. Like, getting the poor Mayo on your coach's head.
And PJ Fleck obviously has the advantage of being bald.
Of being bald, yeah.
Let's look at the line here of the Gophers versus VT. The Gophers 7-5, Virginia Tech 6-6.
Yeah.
I'd imagine the Gophers are the favorites. Yeah, Minnesota is favorites by 7.5.
Ooh, that's a big line.
Yeah. It's Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Charlotte. You're gonna be there. That's right. I will be watching from my place of employment. PJ Fleck is 5-0 in bowl games as the Gophers coach.
Really?
The last time Minnesota lost a bowl game was the Citrus Bowl in 2014.
Wow. So y'all got a streak to keep up.
We do. We really do. This year, the Gophers gave Penn State one of their closest calls. They beat Illinois, who'd go on to finish 10 wins on the year. The Hokies had their moments, like you pushing Miami to the brink in September. Oh wow!
Yeah,
oh wow! That was your highlight of the year. Was pushing Miami to the brink.
Yeah, it was. We weren't the best team. We got cheated out of that Miami game, but overall, the teams we beat weren't really big deals. Lost to the teams we should have for the most part. Lost that Duke game, unfortunately. Yeah, just nothing special, really. No signature win.
Virginia Tech ranks 59th nationally in run defense and 59th in pass defense and 40th in scoring defense. You'll also be without 6 starters on defense.
Yeah.
Antoine Powell Ryland, Aeneas Peebles, Keontae Jenkins, Mansour Delane, Dorian Strong, and Mose Phillips III.
Yeah, do you want to know the...
You also fired your offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, he blows. I'm really thankful.
I'm sorry, Elsio. I got the Gophers comfortably in this game.
And do you want to hear the secret behind it all?
What?
Dorian Strong is our cornerback 1. Peebles is our best interior defensive lineman. APR's our premium pass rusher. We're not in a good shape going into this bowl game.
Are you a little stressed about the Gophers? Or are you just
It's
happy to be
funny.
here? Are you just happy to be here?
I mean, there are moments I thought this team wouldn't be bowl eligible, so that's nice. Going to be fun to try out that way to watch the team get absolutely blown out, though. Might try to rub PJ Fleck's bald head while I'm there.
Yeah.
Make it worth it.
All right. Final score prediction?
Minnesota 45, Virginia Tech 0.
I don't know if we're capable of scoring 45. I got the Gophers 23-6.
Yeah, that's. I'll be more fair and bring it down to 33-0.
You row the boat. All right. Let's get into our NFL pick'em.
Yes, sir.
Final segment of the night before we head out and enjoy the rest of our week. The Cleveland Browns are traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Browns will be starting Bailey Zappi at quarterback. The Ravens are 19-point favorites. Elsio, where are you going with this one?
Man, it's hard because neither of these teams are going to be playing starters, I wouldn't imagine, for the most part.
Do the Ravens still have something to play for?
The division, maybe. Do they still have play for the division, or is that secure? I don't know. If Baltimore's playing starters, they'll cover. If not, that makes it a little weirder. I'd still pick them to win because I think they're better starters to bench anyways, but maybe not cover.
For now, I think I'm going to take the Ravens both ways. The Browns are bad.
Yeah.
Cincinnati headed to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. They're 2-point favorites. I got Cincy both ways. I think they're going to play their ass off to try to get in these playoffs by some miracle.
I'm going to take my biased pick this week and take the Steelers to win. Cincy's defense is just terrible. That's what we need to get the offense back on track, and I think we can contend with their offense defensively, not stop them, but contain them anyways.
The Ravens are the first in the NFC North right now. I assume if they win, they're going to be locked. If they lose, if they lose and you win, what happens? Because you'll both be 11-6.
It would come down to division record. I don't know if our division records might be tied in that scenario too, or Baltimore would have one more.
Let me get an NFL playoff machine real quick. Okay, here we go. So if you win and the Ravens lose, you will be the 3rd seed.
Okay.
If you both win, you stay at 5.
Yeah.
If you lose, you don't matter. It doesn't matter because you're still in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Up next, the Carolina Panthers are headed to Atlanta to take on the Falcons, who are dying to make the playoffs. This is their last gasp, and they need some help. I'm going to take Carolina to win. I think they're just playing better football. 8 points for Atlanta feels like a lot, anyways. So I'll take Carolina to win.
What's the spread in case I want to be a contrarian here?
8 points for Atlanta.
Give me Carolina to win as well. They've been playing up as of late for a little while now. They've been a lot tougher to beat than they get credit for. And Atlanta doesn't do well against teams that are tough to beat, we've come to find. So give me Carolina too.
We got Houston traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. I imagine Houston's resting their starters because Tennessee is the favorite by 1.5 points. If that's the case, I'll take Tennessee. Why not?
Yeah, if they're resting starters, I'll take the Titans to cover too.
But they're doing that weird thing with the quarterbacks where they play one and the other. So I don't know. It could get weird.
Yeah.
Up next, the Giants are headed to Philly to take on the Eagles. The Eagles are 3-point favorites. They're going to be resting most of their stars. I think Tanner McKee is going to make the start. I'll take. Kind of tempted to take the Giants. Kind of tempted, but I'm not going to. I'll take the Eagles.
Both ways or just a win?
Both ways.
Yeah, I'm with you. Then I can't justify taking the Giants to cover and especially to win. So
the Jaguars are headed to Indy to take on the Colts. The Colts are 5-point favorites. I'm going to take Indy to win. I'm going to take Jacksonville to cover.
Yeah, I don't super love the Colts, but I think they're better than Jacksonville at least. I would agree. The Colts will win, but they're not, going to cover that.
Washington at Dallas. Washington is 6-point favorites. Do we have any word on Jaden Daniels? Will he be playing this week? Let's see. News.
I didn't know he was at risk, I'll be honest with you.
Well, they're in the playoffs, so I assume that.
Right, I forgot all about that.
Doesn't say. So I'm just going to assume that he's playing. So I'll take Washington both ways.
Yeah, Dallas has just had a disaster of the season. Their defense have been pushovers. Offense hasn't been much of anything to sneeze at since the Dak injury. Give me the Commanders to cover, whether or not Jaden Daniels plays.
Up next, Chicago headed to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Packers are 10-point favorites. Give me Green Bay both ways. The Bears blow.
The Bears are terrible. Yeah, the Packers are going to cover easily. I'd pick them to cover an even bigger spread than that. It's just an easy lock.
New Orleans is headed to Tampa to take on the Bucks. The Bucks are trying to lock up that division. They are 13.5-point favorites over the Saints, who are just injury-riddled and ready to go home. I'll take Tampa both ways.
Yeah, I was worried at first hearing that line. It's such a big line, and the Saints can play this annoying defense. Sometimes they're a real pain, but
if it was in New Orleans, I would take them, but it's in Tampa. They're trying to pack it up.
Yeah, I don't think it'll matter either way. I think the Bucks cover too.
The Chargers are headed to Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Chargers are 4.5-point favorites. They still got something to play for, seeding and whatnot. Yeah. I'll take the Chargers both ways.
Yeah, the Chargers cover. Could be a fun game. You get to see Brock Bowers and the Chargers game, but they'll cover.
San Francisco heads to the Arizona, take on the Cardinals. The Niners will be without Brock Purdy due to that elbow arm injury thing. And Arizona's 4-point favorites. I'll take Arizona both ways.
Yeah, Arizona's covering. I might pick them to cover that with Brock Purdy, but the injury disasters continue. The Niners are cooked this year for all intents and purposes.
They're in really
nothing
bad shape
to play for. They're done.
The Kansas City Chiefs are headed to Denver to play on the Broncos. The Chiefs are going to be playing all their backups. The Broncos winning in for the third week in a row. Can they do it? I'll take Denver to win, but I'll take KC to cover.
I'm gonna take Denver both ways. Denver will win and cover.
I don't know, man. Like, they're just so unserious sometimes that, like, I could see them unfortunately having a close game
against Carson Wentz. Yeah,
I could see
possible.
it. Yeah. Seattle headed to LA to take on the Rams and Jimmy effing Garoppolo. Jimmy Jesus, Jimmy GQ. The Seahawks are 6.5-point favorites. I say F that. Rams both ways.
I'm not standing for the Jimmy disrespect. Give me the Rams to win.
Hell yeah, brother. Up next, the Miami Dolphins are headed to the East Rutherford to take on the Jets. I'm sorry, I had stuff in the wrong spot. I need to go find the Jets versus the Dolphins line here. We are looking at
shout outs for catching East Rutherford, not saying New York.
The Dolphins are 1-point favorites playing without Tua. Again, is Aaron Rodgers going to play?
That's a good question.
Will Aaron Rodgers play this week? Yeah, okay, he's playing.
Okay.
And the Dolphins will be without Tua. I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, I have to. Who do the Dolphins even play at QB without Tua? Snoop Huntley.
Is Snoop Huntley not playing?
I think Snoop Huntley's playing, but either way,
I would assume so if he's the backup.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, the Jets are going to win this. I know Rodgers blows, but he's still the starter.
He's turned up the last month or so. Like, he's played better.
He has. I've noticed that. I agree with you. I can't justify taking the Dolphins here to cover.
And if the Dolphins win, they get in the play. This is a must-win for them. If they win, like, they have a better chance of getting that in the playoffs.
That's true.
I don't know what they need to happen in order to get in, but
I'd imagine they need a Cincy loss, maybe.
I just had the playoff machine up, and I closed it. Dumbass.
They need some teams to lose for sure. Maybe a tie or two.
If Miami wins, it's certainly not in. If the Chargers lose, no, they're in, aren't they?
I think they are.
Yeah. If you lose, no. Who needs to lose? Oh, Denver.
No.
They need Denver to lose. If
Do they
Denver
need
loses,
to lose too, or just Denver?
if you lose, well, no, you play Cincy, so you guys both can't lose.
Yeah.
That's the only way this makes sense.
I think
Wait, no. The Dolphins have to be eliminated. The Dolphins have to be eliminated.
They're 8-8 though.
Miami Dolphins playoffs.
I really think it would help them most if we beat Cincy.
Could the
That
Dolphins
might
make
be
the
their
playoffs?
only way.
They have a 36% chance. What do they need to happen?
They
Somebody
need
tell me. What do the Dolphins need?
They need to win, and they need the Bengals to lose.
But the Bengals aren't in the playoffs.
Right. What else would they need?
Raiders
Because they'd
win.
be
Dolphins,
9-8.
Broncos. No, not high. 9-8. The Dolphins win. Okay, they need Denver to lose. That's all they need. They just need Denver to lose.
That makes sense. All right. We got that.
Good Lord. We suck. Okay. It's not going to matter because the Jets are going to win anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
The Vikings are heading to Detroit to take on the Lions. Both teams 14-2. Winner of this gets the first round bye and home field advantage throughout. It is the most consequential Week 18 game of all time. Most consequential game of December of all time, to tell you the truth. For all the marbles, the Lions are 2.5-point favorites. I don't see it. This defense sucks. I'm taking Minnesota. They're playing better football.
Yeah, this is not only the most consequential game, this is the hardest to pick for me. I don't love Detroit's defense with all the injuries, but that offense is still elite. And on the other hand, the Vikings defense is damn good, sending 3 Pro Bowlers. Shout out B-Flow. Gun to my head, give me Minnesota.
Yeah, skull, baby. That's the second time you picked the Minnesota team on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a total of 38 to 40, making it a 78-point game.
That's a close game. Give me 45 to 42. 87, I think that'll be total.
And finally, the Buffalo Bills with their backups. Well, Josh Allen will play a little bit, but the Bills will head into Gillette Stadium, take on the Patriots. Drake May will be playing for who knows how long. The Bills are 2.5-point favorites. Sorry, Patriots fans, they're not getting it. I don't think they're going to get this shitty win. They're going to lose 31-10.
All right, I gotta be mindful here because last time I picked Bills versus Patriots, I really looked dumb predicting the 50 burger. I think Buffalo probably does cover, but things could get weird if they're playing backups and you have Drake May and keeping it close. But I'll take them to cover. I think it's another close game just because Bills don't have too much to play for. I'll let Josh Allen get a few throws in and set him, I would assume.
Score?
Give me an ugly 27-24 game.
Okay, we made it close.
Yeah.
I got them 31-10. I think the Bills curve stomp them when we move on to the offseason, which I'm so desperately needing right now. I need a break from the Patriots. I really do. It's coming. It's coming. And when Ryan comes back next week, we'll go over it all again. We'll unwrap it, just to bandage it up and move on. Elsio, thank you so much for coming on once again this week. We hope you enjoy your trip to Charlotte to watch the Minnesota Gophers win. Any parting words for the fine folks? I don't know when we'll see you again.
As always, good to be on again. I always enjoy the podcast, as I hope you all enjoy having me. Hope everyone has a good week, that the Pats can make it a nice competitive game then, hopefully the off-season treats you better than the regular season.
Amen. This This was the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow the page on Facebook. We'll be back next week to wrap it all up. Thank you for watching. Go Patriots. All that fun stuff.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.